You get what you pay for. I really should have kept that in mind when I took this job. The flyer taped to the telephone pole was simple enough. Night shift cashier. Midnight to 6 a.m. $50 an hour. Cash. For a broke college kid drowning in debt, it felt like a jackpot. The gig sounded like a breeze. Brew some terrible coffee, sweep the floors, and binge-watch shows. But last night was my first shift, and my last. When I clocked in, the owner was already waiting. A gaunt, creepy guy who completely refused to make eye contact. He shoved a set of keys and a crumpled piece of paper across the counter. "Read it," he rasped. "Follow it to the letter, and you'll live to see your paycheck." Before I could ask what the hell that meant, he bolted out the door. I smoothed out the paper. Rule number 1, the front doors lock at 12:30 a.m. sharp. If a customer needs something, use the reinforced night window. Never open the doors, not even if they beg, cry, or scream that they're bleeding out. Rule number 2, a rusted black Ford will pull up to pump number 4 at exactly 2 a.m. They will honk 3 times, take a $20 bill, walk outside, and slide it through the crack in their window. But do not look in the rearview mirror. Rule number 3, if the old radio on the counter turns itself on and starts playing Mr. Sandman, hide under the register immediately. Cover your ears. You will hear wet footsteps. I chuckled. Honestly, I figured it was just some hazing ritual for the new guy. Just a sick joke, until the digital clock hit 2:03 a.m. 3 blares of a horn shattered the dead silence. My stomach dropped. I looked out the window. A rotting black Ford idling at pump 4, pitch black inside. My hands were shaking uncontrollably as I grabbed a 20 and pushed the doors open. It was freezing and the air smelled like rotting meat. I power walked to the driver's side. I reached out to slide the cash through the tiny crack in the window. But right as I tried to pull my hand back, a freezing, slimy hand shot out from the dark and gripped my wrist. My eyes locked dead onto the side rearview mirror. The reflection staring back wasn't the driver. It was me, but smiling. I stumbled back, scrambled inside, and slammed the deadbolt shut. I was hyperventilating. And then, the old radio crackled to life. The distorted melody of Mr. Sandman started playing. I dove under the counter, clamping my hands over my ears. Then I heard them. They weren't coming from the front door. They were already behind the counter. And right now, I can feel something leaning over me. I held my breath. My lungs were screaming, burning for just a single gasp of air. I remembered rule number 3. Do not breathe until the music stops. The thing leaning over me smelled like stagnant water and copper. A cold drop of something thick landed on my cheek. I squeezed my eyes shut and prayed. Then, the radio spat out static. Mr. Sandman ended. The wet footsteps slowly retreated to the back room. I gasped for air, shivering. I crawled out and flipped the crumpled paper over. There was writing on the back. My heart sank. The nightmare wasn't over. Rule number 4. At 3:30 a.m., a woman in a yellow raincoat will knock on the night window. She will ask for directions to Oak Haven. Point to the left. Do not speak to her. Oak Haven burned down 30 years ago, and she burned with it. I looked up. The digital clock read 3:28 a.m., and right on cue. Pale knuckles tapped against the reinforced glass. There she was, soaking wet despite no rain outside.
Excuse me.
Her voice was unnaturally sweet.
Can you point me to Oak Haven?
I bit my tongue to keep from screaming, raised my hand and pointed left. Instantly, her sweet smile vanished. Her jaw unhinged, dropping unnaturally low to her chest. "You're lying," she hissed. Her voice now a demonic guttural growl. She slammed her rotting face against the glass. The reinforced window actually cracked. I stumbled backward. Spiderwebs of broken glass spread out from her deformed face. Just as I thought the glass would shatter, the landline phone on the wall started ringing. I glanced at the clock. It was 5:55 a.m. I looked at the paper. Rule number 5. The phone rings at 5:55 a.m. Answer it and say, "I'm still here." But if the voice on the other end is crying, hang up immediately and pray. I picked up the receiver. "I'm still here," I whispered. Through the static, I didn't hear the owner. I heard myself. I slammed the phone down so hard the plastic cracked. Hang up immediately and pray. I dropped to my knees behind the counter and shut my eyes tight. The fluorescent lights overhead flickered wildly and then died completely. The hum of the coolers stopped. The only sound left was the frantic beating of my own heart. The digital clock glowed weakly in the dark. 5:58 a.m. Just 2 more minutes. But then I heard it. The heavy deadbolt on the front door slowly slid open. Click. The door creaked on its rusted hinges. A freezing wind swept into the store. Someone or something walked in. It stopped right in front of the counter. I didn't breathe. I didn't peek. I just waited for it to rip me apart. But instead, a loud, jarring buzzer echoed through the room. The neon lights snapped back on, blindingly bright. The morning sun was suddenly pouring through the windows. The clock hit 6 a.m. The shadow was gone. I slowly peeked over the counter. The creepy owner was standing there, staring at me with hollow eyes. He tossed a crumpled $50 bill onto the register. "Shift's over," he muttered. I didn't say a single word. I grabbed the cash, bolted out the door, jumped into my car and slammed on the gas. I survived. I actually survived Route 81. As I sped down the highway miles away from that hellhole, I finally took a deep breath. Out of habit, I glanced up into my rearview mirror, but the face staring back wasn't mine. It was grinning, ear to ear, rows of jagged blood-stained teeth. It raised a pale, slimy hand and tapped the glass from the inside. And then I realized I didn't survive rule number 2. It did.